Do you know the smiley face killers thing?
Yes,
you ever heard of
I've
that?
heard of it. I can't remember exactly
It's a really
what it was.
like that is so. First off, where'd that serial killer's name come from?
It was Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte. They are former New York City police detectives. And what they noticed was that there were all these young men, college-age men mostly, showing up dead in rivers. And they were always ruled to be accidental drownings as a result of alcohol intoxication or with association with alcohol intoxication. And they identified a number of these. Yeah, they identified a number of these, and they're like, I don't know. I don't know if these are accidents. Now, I personally, after looking at, I think we've looked at, half a dozen of these
roughly
cases and clusters. I don't think that there's a broad connection nationwide. But when we were looking at the La Crosse, Wisconsin cases, it's like every single one of the people one of them survived. Every single one of these men, well, they picked 10, I picked 5. Every single one of the 5 I picked was same general age bracket, same intelligence. They were all, college educated. They were all athletic. They were, basically guys who, for the most part, you might consider to be like your typical like attractive male at that age.
And most importantly, can swim.
And they're like college dudes. They drink, and when you're saying like that one dude that's a .16, which we all function at a .16 any day of the fucking week. Yeah, that's just,
as Trout called it yesterday, a good bowling buzz.
But yeah, so what happens with each of these guys is, sometimes like Lady Bird Lake right now is kind of, surprisingly not as big as we thought it was when we were talking about it for our channel. But Lady Bird Lake, they've had all these bodies show up in the river, right? And, they're different races, different sexes, different ages, probably not connected. These guys were all within the 20 to 25 age bracket, I think. They were all but one were single. They were all around the same height, all white, all had similar haircuts. And most importantly, all of them were drinking on the same strip of bars on 3rd Street the night they disappeared. And then 6 guys around our age turn up in the water. 5 of them didn't make it. They just, float up to the surface and they're found. And it turns out they were drinking on this one street. One of them survived. He went in the water in January of, I think it was 2006.
This is what's crazy about this story is this dude survived and it's like, oh, I was drinking at 2 a.m.
Yeah, so he's basically the way that it broke down is the last thing he remembered I think was 1:15 a.m., maybe 1:45 a.m., somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was the bars were still technically open
the
at
bars
that
were
point,
still
but he
open.
wasn't there.
He remembered dancing at a bar on 3rd Street, I think it was John's Bar, and then the next thing he knew, he was swimming in the Mississippi, miles down the river.
So someone's roofing these men and
know
then
about the
throwing
second
them
part.
in the fucking river.
The first and last part, it seems like it. The second part doesn't seem to be, as far as anybody can tell, happening.
And that's the weird thing, because a couple of the towns that we've covered with this, it's like, okay, well, some of these, it just seems like guys are getting pissed and then going to piss in the river and they don't come back.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's like, no, there's something clearly weird going on here, but they're not quite connected. And then La Crosse is this weird outlier where it's like, no, there is a profile here, someone is following that, and someone was doing it for a set period of time.
About 8 years. It goes from 1998 to 2006, and then it stops.
Jesus.
Which is great. And then they were finding like GB.
Yeah, so that was the thing. Well, that's the thing is that they were testing, and I think one of them tested positive for GHB, but the rest didn't.
But it had a show.
But there was no assault.
No,
they were just getting roofied and someone was throwing them in the fucking water.
Which is why, part of the reason why I looked at it and I went, I think that the culprit here is a woman.
Well, there's the one specific piece of evidence that...
And one of the guys, Luke Homan, when they found him, he had a weird pattern of bruising on his forehead that looked like a rather narrow toe line. Not like a cowboy boot, like a woman's boot.
High heel.
Not even like a high heel.
Not like the toe of the high heel. Yeah, like you're pointing.
Yeah, either a toe of a high heel or but definitely a woman's shoe. Is kind of what it looks like.
They were killed by cross-dressers.
This explains.
We found him.
This explains the lack of sexual assault.
You think like with the FBI profile, like someone was roofing them and then stomping on their heads and throwing them in the water.
I don't know about all of them with the stomping on the heads,
at least
but
one.
at least the one. What it seemed like, what we were tracking was these are all men who are, conventionally attractive, both in terms of their looks and their background.
Well, that makes sense for it to be a woman.
Exactly. And they all go missing from the same strip of bars. None of them tell their friends they're even leaving. So it's like, that's the part that caught me first. I was like, the only reason that I would not tell my friends I'm leaving the bar in college would have been if I had met a girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, I'm saying, hey guys, I'm leaving, I'm going to this bar.
Yeah, you Irish goodbye with some girl. Yeah,
exactly. Otherwise, I'm telling you, I'm going here, I'm going there. None of these guys told their friends they were leaving the bar.
I find that also kind of weird too, because you would have thought at that point, at least one of them would have been like, and like they would have at least have somebody to go off of.
True.
But yeah, and you look at it, and
unless she wasn't attractive, in which case that makes perfect sense.
So what I think
that's probably
how deep was that female foot imprint?
Yeah. Good God. I found
narrow toe line, fat shoe.
Very.
I found a study on GHB and how fast it exits the body, and it turns out that within 3 hours, it's usually present. It's almost always present. 3 to 6 hours, I think it was 12.5% of people.
Yeah, it was like, I think it got to the point where within that window,
Yeah,
it was like 80% of people generally was out of their system.
No, it was 80% of people was in. Yeah, it was, right. So after 3 to 6 hours,
I'm 6 to 12, my bad.
Yeah, 3 to 6 hours, it was 12.5% of people. So 1 in 8 people will have cleared GHB from their system within 6 hours, possibly within 3 hours.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You get into the 6 to 12 hour range, 86.5% of people have cleared all of the GHB out of their system with the standard dose of GHB. So with most of the cases, it's a little hard to tell. With specifically, because there's no like known endogenous GHB level, you produce it internally, like naturally. There's no predetermined level. With Colin Fortney, the survivor, they tested him for GHB, but as far as everything broke down, he disappeared at 1:15, went into the water within the hour based on, like when he disappeared, and then he got out of the water around 7 a.m. He has to have gone into the water January. Keep in mind, January in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
he has to.
It's fucking 20 degrees.
He got out of the water at 6:30 a.m., walked into a hospital at 7 a.m. He cannot have gone into that water anytime before 6 a.m. and survived.
Because you said how long it takes for in that water.
15 minutes.
Like 15 minutes, hypothermia or dead. Like
you said,
shock,
he went
close down.
But you said he went into the water an hour after?
That's what
allegedly?
The police seem to think.
Well, that's the thing is like, so I've been in Lake Water in Pennsylvania in December. Your
body locks up.
Well, that's the thing. I was wearing a wetsuit because I was acting in a short film that I was doing, and I had a wetsuit on under my clothes. I was in the water for maybe 60 to 90 seconds. I got out after the take to go into the yurt that we had there. I couldn't unbutton my shirt because my hands were physically so cold they didn't have enough grip strength to get the button off. It's like, and that was with a wetsuit on.
Yeah.
So I don't even understand how, with 15 minutes in the water.
Yeah. Basically what has to have happened, he cannot have gone into that water before, I think it was 6 a.m., and he cannot have survived. If he had just gotten out of the water and laid there and passed out for several hours, he wouldn't have survived that either because he wouldn't have dried. It would have been too cold. He would have frozen to death. So he cannot have gone into that water anytime after 6 a.m. And yet the police are like, oh no, yeah, he probably just went into the water sometime after leaving the bar, went to take a piss, fell in, passed out on the rocks, woke up with the sun and walked into the hospital.
No, he got drugged, and someone held him captive for a couple hours.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and then he took him down to the water and fucking threw him in.
Broken belt loops.
Yeah, that was on Luke Homan. He had broken belt loops. No reason.
Legitimate question. The substance GHB? GHB. Does it cause ED?
I don't think it does.
Well, then I think we have our answer.
What it does cause is the exact same behaviors and feelings as being drunk. So anybody who's on GHB will just appear to be drunk.
To an extent.
Maybe really drunk.
Yeah.
It's like shit wrecked. It's like Kevin Burdenham.
But sometimes if you got too much of it or you drink too much while on it, you're going to end up in a position where maybe you're irritable. Nobody's going to be able to tell that you've been drugged. And one of the things that it does is, on the off chance somebody does survive, you don't get your memory back from that time.
Yeah.
It makes you black out.
And he woke up in the water?
He woke up in the water.
Imagine that, dude. That is a fucking night when you're just like, oh man, I just want to dance tonight. This bitch is hot. You're like, shit. What the happened? Now you're swimming in cold ass water, and you're like, I'm dying. I'm gonna run to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Thankfully, which was
Gunderson Lutheran Medical Center. Yeah.
fucking insane.
Your memory is incredible for the record.
Dude, I love it. That's his tism.
It is.
This is my new biggest fear.
This is why I have a history degree.
No, the only reason our channel is as successful as it is.
No, we always joke about the famous Reddit creepypasta about the lamp. The lamp that was flat. We always joke about like that being us in real life ever since blowing up on YouTube and this whole job and our whole lives.
You think YouTube and podcasting is a job?
We're all gonna wake up in the middle of the Mississippi River trying to swim. This is my new fear. It's not the lamp anymore.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's that moment, and then I wake up in the Mississippi. I was like, oh no.
Oh shit! Wait, I am cold. Oh no.
I'm north of the Mason-Dixon. How did this happen?
I'm gonna wake up at age 16 next to Bryson's parents' car after hitting my head on the tire playing Manhunt.
No, God.
I did say this morning, I said if I could go back to being 16, knowing everything I know now, I'd be tempted to take it.
Oh, I would absolutely do it.
Invest in Bitcoin. Invest in Bitcoin.
What's that?
I said, what was the Count Dankula quote about foreshadowing?
On the business. We call this foreshadowing. Oh, I do that any day of the week. Fuck, yeah.
So he just, this entire, and it was the smiley face killer.
Yeah.
But, and then it stopped in 2006, 2004.
2006.
And then
Luke Homan, I believe, is the last one I identified as having a similar profile to the rest of them.
Run through why you picked the 5 and not the 10.
Sure. So there were 10 people originally that I looked at, and 5 of them, one was like 5'6" and pretty overweight. The rest of them were like 5'8" to 6'2" and athletic. So didn't really fit the profile.
Imagine being discarded and told you're not a victim because you're fat.
Yeah.
I didn't say it like that.
Canceled. Here we go.
I didn't say it like that.
That's
to
dope.
be fair.
You just play Tinder. You're like, not fucking him. These ones, though.
Yeah, you literally would look. You looked through the 10. We're like, I these 5.
You swiped right, and on one, you were like, eh. And then you were at 5'8", and you're like, eh.
Oh, man.
This is not how murder kill is supposed to be played.
You've been watching too much Criminal Minds.
Murder, kill. What game did you play?
Have you ever heard of that game?
Mary, kill.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Nick plays a different version. Murder.
Oh no.
Kill sounds like a metal band.
Murder kills that hardcore metal band.
I've been drinking in the sun, okay?
Were you by chance in
That's their
lacrosse?
first single.
I've been drinking in the sun and simulating shooting people in the head all day. This is having an off day.
Fucking lacrosse, dude.
But yeah, I want to
let's
know.
go to
'cause,
this.
like, what's your deal with lacrosse?
So a lot of my content that I make on my channel, which of course is another metal band name, Murder Content, comes out of La Crosse, Wisconsin.
I've heard.
It's like the PvP server of America. It's seriously a GTA 5 server. Like, it's fucking wild how much content I get out of there, dude.
Noah the T-Rex.
Yeah, Noah the T-Rex. Like, there's just so much meth and no fathers in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Oh my God.
Like, I get so many videos out of that one goddamn city.
Who's
It's
Noah
wild.
the T-Rex?
You never seen Noah the T-Rex?
Wait, is it Noah the kid that always gets arrested?
Yeah, that always gets arrested and screams. I've made like 6
I know
videos
which one
on
you're talking about now.
this little piece of shit.
Has anybody here ever been drinking it in the state of Wisconsin?
No.
We should go.
We should all go to lacrosse.
No,
We
I
should
mean,
go
not
to
even
La
lacrosse.
Crosse.
Just literally anywhere in Wisconsin is so much fun to drink.
We need to do a survival video in lacrosse.
Oh,
do
we die.
24 hours in lacrosse.
No,
If I see Noah, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this kid. I'm be like, oh, you never had a dad before. You're about to fucking learn. I'm gonna take my belt off and everything, dude.
Wisconsin has these crazy laws where you can just open up a bar like in your garage or in your basement.
Oh.
So there's like, you'll drive through small towns and it'll be like bar, and it's just like some dude's house, and in his garage he has a bar, and you can just like go drink with random people like at their house bar. It's cool as shit.
This is explaining a lot of your
does
I love
Wisconsin.
It's awesome.
The
I'm
gang
also
moves
realizing-
to Wisconsin.
This is potentially why there's 5 missing people.
And also potentially why you have so much lacrosse content.
Oh, they had like 5-cent beer night the night Luke Homan went missing.
I remember.
They're the best.